Essential New York Rangers podcast. I'm Andrew Chelney alongside Nick Zararis. And Nick, it is Armageddon time.
I wouldn't say Armageddon. I would say it's I need a hero. It's one last breath, whatever euphemism you want to use to describe it. You know, you want to do Morgan Freeman and Shawshank, get busy living, get busy dying, whatever you want to say. It's time for somebody to make something happen. The Rangers have had chances. They haven't been able to convert them. And I, as somebody who has spent a lot of time in his life watching the Mets, I don't care that it's game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. You telling me we had some good looks and didn't convert them has the same exact effect as a random Mets infielder saying, well, we had some good at bats late. I don't care. Win the game or tell me we need to be better. Do not tell me, oh, we were right there. Because if you were right there, you would have put the puck in. That's right. Ultimately where I'm at on that. Like what Zibanejad said after the game, dude, you're getting your teeth kicked in right now, and you have the gall to say we're right there. You're in the 20s and like all of the shot metrics. You're not even close. And you have the guts to say we're close. You're not. You can be honest and just say we're not playing well. We need to be better. I think a lot of people would appreciate that because when the Rangers have lost this year, it's always been, well, this group finds a way. And yes, they have. But I would like a handle on reality a little bit more. What happened on Thursday? That was a winnable hockey game. They did not play well, but it was 1-1 for quite a while. They did have opportunities, but they kept making the same mistakes. Those long stretch passes out of the zone or the rim around the boards to nobody, or the dump in and nobody there on the forecheck. They need to do stuff they haven't done yet in this series. They need to accept it's going to be ugly. It's going to require going to the net and eating a stick to the face. It is going to require eating a stick to the lumbar part of your spine. If you want to score a goal in this series, you have to go to the net. It is not a coincidence that the one goal they scored on Thursday was one that Kreider scored with somebody draped all over him, and he just dragged them along. To win tonight, you're going to need at least 3 goals. You cannot complain about officiating or the other team if your team is only scoring 1 goal a game, and they haven't scored at even strength in a game and a half. If you can't score, you don't get to complain. If it's 4-4 and the officials make a terrible call, okay. It's 1-1, 1-0. You got to be better, man. You got to play better than the officials officiate. Yes, they've been bad, but the Rangers aren't doing themselves any favors. The few power plays they have had, the power play's been terrible. At some point, you got to try some new stuff, and there's no better time than an elimination game. This is kitchen sink time, whatever that means, whether that's 7D, whether that's rotating the forwards, whether that's doubling guys, whatever. This is it. It's put up or shut up, get busy living or get busy dying time.
I really want to see Jones in as a 7th defenseman. Give him some, like, having Rempe sitting on the bench does nothing. It accomplishes nothing. He played less than 3 minutes in game 5, did jack the whole.
He touched the puck 3 times.
Yeah,
all
I
game.
mean, like he essentially just got a free ticket to the game, but he's wearing, he's got all the attire. He's sitting on the bench like that. That was his role in game 5. You cannot Stu Bickle your way to the Stanley Cup Finals. You just cannot have that happen. We saw it happen in 2012 where the Rangers played Stu Bickle for 5 minutes, and the Rangers just ran out of gas. They ran out of runway to get their depth going, and that led to the Devils winning in 6. The same situation can apply here. If they dress Rempe again, he plays 4 minutes, the Stu Bickle special, and the Rangers lose because they don't have enough juice left in the tank to double shift all their top guys. I hate to break it to you, but history has a tendency of repeating itself if you let it. So, Rempe aside, all the big storylines are here. Panarin underperforming badly.
I'll give Panarin a little bit more of a pass than the other guys because they still are winning their possession, and he had the 2 assists.
Sure,
he had 2 assists. Sure. I'll give him. They're a little more exempt, but
sure.
Chris Kreider, Zibanejad, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to say, okay, Panarin's been bad, but not as bad as Zibanejad and Kreider and Roslovic especially, then that's one thing. But the top guys are getting paid top dollars to perform at top guy value in top guy situations. This is what these contracts are for. Scoring 1 million points in the regular season, putting up, bonker stats and all, like, that's great. And it's fantastic that these things happen in January and in March, and the leg kicks, and like that's great. It's Game 6 of the conference finals. If you don't score here, none of the goals that you scored before matter. They don't. You won 55 games. This is the best regular season team in franchise history. This team has been around for over a century. Or almost a century, 98 years, whatever. To win, to have that many accolades on your, under your belt, and have the top guys fall short again in critical situations.
Well, Andrew, this is the fundamental thing we've talked about for 2 years. Are there good guys good enough?
Yeah.
That's been the conversation for 2 years. Are these guys able to do it?
This has been the number one question that we have asked on this show, essentially since episode 1.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning of this show, we've asked this question to each other, to everybody listening. Are Zibanejad, Kreider, everybody else that makes up the top 6, are they good enough fundamentally to change the course of a game in the conference finals, in the finals, to make the margins are so thin. They are razor thin. If your best guys year in and year out cannot move the needle in those margins, I hate to break it to you, but that means you got to get different guys.
I'm going to build off of that a little bit. The one caveat I want to say to that is, this is what happened when you play against real guys.
Sure.
Against most teams, Zibanejad, Kreider, Panarin, and Trocheck is more than fine. Yeah. Against 25 of the 32 teams in the league, most nights, if the Rangers choose to play low event hockey, where the difference in the game comes down to those 4 guys, Shesterkin and Adam Fox, they have enough talent where they can do that. They're playing against a real team now. They are playing against a team who has real elite players. They are Florida's top 5 guys are as good as any team in the entire league's first 5 guys. When you go down the list of Barkov and Tkachuk and excuse me, you go down the list of those guys, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, that's as good a first 5 guys as there is in the entire league.
Yep.
Barkov is eating Zibanejad's lunch. And I don't even need Zibanejad and Kreider to win their minutes. They just need to not get obliterated in their minutes. We've said that from the outset of this series. If the Rangers can keep it within 5-10% in the possession metrics and win on special teams and Igor's Igor, they're fine. The reason it's looked like they've been getting their asses kicked for 2 straight games, which they have, is because they do not have the puck at all. No. They have no zone time. All of their offense is coming off of the rush when Florida makes a mistake. If Florida does not make
reminiscent of a few years ago when they did that, where they just had 8 shots on goal and 7 of them were off the rush.
That's the only way they can get to offense right now, because they can't generate a clean zone exit to save their life, because they have 1 functioning defenseman right now. I'll say 2. Miller and Schneider have been okay out of the 6, but Fox can't move.
Nope.
Lindgren can't win a puck battle. Trouba can't win a puck battle. Gustafsson can't win a puck battle. There was a sequence in the game on Thursday where Florida rimmed it in around the boards. Trouba was the first person to the puck, turned around, looked up, and still lost the puck. He had the puck clean and lost it because he cannot move it. The Rangers' inability to move the puck in this series is killing them. There were moments in the game on Thursday where they were able to get quick breakouts, where they got the puck clean, 1 pass, 2 pass, out. That's the way you're going to beat this Florida forecheck. The long stretch pass is only daring Florida to break it up. The Rangers are not going to be able to do what they've done all year if they want to win this game, barring something weird.
And their passes just aren't fast enough.
Oh, no, they're definitely not crisp.
They're so, methodical is not even the right word. They're so slow to move the puck to the next guy up that by the time they do it, Florida has not only played the game, they've written the walkthrough. Back when, a few years ago, if you didn't know how to beat a certain part of a video game, you have to look up a walkthrough or an FAQ, and somebody with a lot of time on their hands wrote it for you, a step-by-step detail, process to how to beat this level in a game. This is what Florida is doing. That's how much time they have to break up these passes. They're reading the play, they're breaking up the play, and the Rangers are telegraphing that they're going to do this. They're not fast enough with the puck. They are not sure enough, and they're just, maybe their confidence is in there. I'm not sure what it is, but they need to be quicker getting rid of the puck off their stick and moving it and getting it towards the net. They're not nonchalant, but they're way too slow for how quickly Florida can counter.
100%. And off of that, it's real simple. You want to keep playing. You want to prove you're different. There's no better forum. They have not played a good period probably since the second period of game 3, the one where they came back and really got going. And to get to this point, it's taken some unusual circumstances. Barclay Goodrow is shooting 40-something% in this series. If Barclay Goodrow and Alexis Lafreniere are your 2 best forwards in a playoff series, you're not beating anyone. You're not. It's that straightforward. And yeah, I understand. Florida is legitimately good. If Florida goes on, wins the Stanley Cup, no one's surprised. Florida went to the Cup final last year, got even better this year. They're a really good team. There is no shame in that. I am not saying this is a disaster. I am not saying it's unacceptable. It is disappointing. That's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people, especially at 2-2 coming back to New York, felt, okay, we haven't played great. Our depth has bought our star players time. Eventually, they're going to have to make something happen. And then they get the Kreider goal, and okay, we're back in this game. But Florida's depth shows up, and you get a goal from Lindell, who's had a very nice series, who is, as good a third-line center as there is in the entire NHL. Florida is really this good. Florida is really about this action. The Rangers, it's real simple. You are going to have to play as close to a perfect game as you can, because they've lost on the margins. As much as they've been getting dominated possession-wise, they only lost by a goal on Thursday, even though they didn't play well. And frankly, they probably could have gotten 1 or 2 more goals in there, but they weren't able to convert them. In Florida, though they've had the puck a lot, they haven't made a ton of dangerous offense, but they don't have to make a ton of dangerous offense. I know a lot of people are saying they're getting all these bounces, they're taking advantage of positioning and rebounds. Well, yeah, if you have the puck half of the 3/4 of the game, you're going to get a stupid goal every now and then. And that's the benefit you have when you win possession. The Rangers aren't going to be able to win possession against Florida. It is a matter of keeping that gap close enough that special teams and goaltending can be the difference. The last 2 games, the gap at 5-on-5 has not been close enough for those to be difference makers. And the power play is just not working. The kill is still fun. The power play is just, it's not working. And that's the argument for playing Jones, is that you have Gus QB, power play 1, and you kind of have to at
Can
this
we
point.
put Lafreniere on PP1?
I would be fine with 5 forwards.
Can we please do that?
I'd be fine with 5 forwards.
Lafreniere has been on fire. His confidence is through the roof. He's playing like a man possessed in these playoffs. What else and also the power play isn't working as is.
Well, I think that's because of it's because Fox is hurt. That's why.
Listen. I understand. I get what you're saying. At the same time, Fox is hurt and he's not getting any better. Make the change. Get Jones in the lineup for Rempe if you want to do that. Have 11 forwards, 7D. Have Jones be that kind of utility man on the blue line when needed, and have him run the first power play unit and put Lafreniere on there, and then all of a sudden you're cooking.
I don't think they would do that. If anything, I would think
it would be Gustafsson on the first.
It would probably be Gustafsson just because Jones hasn't played in like 2 months. Granted, I don't know how you can see what Edmonton's done with Broberg in the last 2 games and not think maybe it's worth a shot, especially considering how non-functional the defense has been for the last 3 games now.
I mean, we talked about it when the Oilers hired Knobloch. He's a good coach.
He's pushed all the right buttons for them in these playoffs with the lineup decisions. When he went to Pickard against Vancouver, you got to have a feel for it. And part of the reason I still am inclined to give Laviolette the benefit of the doubt is they've gotten this far and they haven't changed a whole lot. You know, the lineup was pretty static for most of the season. It wasn't like it was the last couple of years where the lines would get changed 3 times in the course of a single game, and then they would go back to what they were at the start of the game at the next game. They are in a difficult position. I said it the other day on the Locked On NHL show, on the Power Ranking show. Any of these teams, including Dallas, is capable of coming back from 3-2 down.
Oh, yeah.
There is enough talent on this Rangers team that they can do this. Shesterkin has been tremendous. He has given them a chance every single night, in spite of the fact it's been difficult. And yes, in a vacuum, some of the goals that Florida have scored haven't been that difficult. He should have had them. But in the context of his overall performance, you have to understand he has been under siege for 4 straight games now. Basically since the midway point of game number 2, he has just been under constant barrage where anyone else, I don't think there's another goalie in the league who could have the Rangers in the spot they're in right now. I really don't.
I agree.
Based on the way Shesterkin's played in these playoffs. Yeah. The recipe tonight's real simple. Short passes, the forwards can't fly the zone early, and the D need to support each other down low. They keep losing those puck battles. It's going to be a long night. You let Florida get their cycle going, they're going to pummel you into a pulp. And don't tell me, oh, Florida's doing this, Florida's doing that. We know they did this last year too. The officials do not care. It's not going to be a parade to the penalty box, no matter how much we would like it to be. It should be, but the referees don't call the game. They manage the game. There's a difference. And because of that, the Rangers are at an inherent disadvantage, and complaining about it is unproductive. It is simply yelling into the void. The NHL wants the game played like this, so the Rangers need to accept these are the rules we're playing under. We need to be better. Should Gustafsson gotten a penalty for running over to grabbing Mikkola? No. But because of the situation, they wanted to bring the temperature of the game down. Because the way the officials are, you cannot expect them to give you the benefit of the doubt. They are not good at their jobs. We all know this. Complaining about the officials is pointless when the team is scoring 1 goal a game. They need to score if they would like to win this hockey game.
You don't win a game 0-0, and that's the thing that we have to talk. And we'll get into more big picture stuff later on Monday if they don't get to a game 7. But this is the risk, and I tell you this out after game 5. This is the risk that you run when, and I understand why Chris Drury didn't exactly.
No. We're not doing revisionism. We're not doing trade deadline.
We're not doing the revisionist. But we have to take a look at the pieces that were brought in.
That's for Monday, Andrew. That's for Monday. We're only talking about game 6. You can't change the lineup right now. You can't change the lineup. If you want to put in Jones, you want to put in Brendan
I would like to put in Zach Jones, please.
That's a conversation we can have.
I would love to put in Zach Jones because he would actually skate with the puck. One thing I really want to see out of this team, especially the forward group in game 6, I don't want to see the solo dump it anymore.
Someone's got to go get it. Dump and chase is a 2-part word.
The Rangers love doing this thing where they're surrounded by 4 Panthers. There's 1 Ranger with the puck that is just barely past the red line, and whoever it is dumping the puck in. He is sprinting after it. He gets dumped in the boards, and there's 3 other Panthers there and no other Rangers there to regroup and go the other way. Can we not do that tonight? That'd be really cool. That would be so sick if the Rangers did that with support or found a different way of getting the puck in the offensive zone. I'm so sick and tired of watching either it be Kakko or whoever it is be alone by 50 feet. Try to dump and chase by himself with no support. The reason
that happens is because the Rangers aren't a dump and chase team. So typically when they dump and chase, it's because they're going for a line change. And that's typically why you get the 4-on-1 in the offensive zone there. I forgot who tweeted the sequence earlier today. I saw it this morning, but there was a sequence in game 5 where they dumped and they had the puck side. They had strong side support where they had 2 guys down the right side. But Rempe, instead of trying to play the puck, went for the hit, missed the hit, and Florida broke out clean. That's the thing. If you want to play dump and chase, you got to be rigid in your structure, and you got to go follow up on it. And the Rangers, because they're not designed to do that, refuse to do that. One more thing before we get out of here. You got to play some of these guys, man. Cooley getting only 4 minutes, you can't do that. Gaudreau only getting 4 or 5 minutes, you can't do that. I understand you're chasing the game, and you need your best guys out there. but you need the guys who are going to be able to get zone time just to cycle it, just to take some pressure off of your defense.
Yeah.
Part of the reason the Rangers have had such a hard time in this series is because they have been on defense almost the entire game. And the only chances they get are if they can get a quick breakout and they get a rush. If they don't get that, they're in their own zone forever. So you got to get Cooley in there. You got to get Kakko in there. You got to get Wenberg, and just 45 seconds, cycle, put pressure on Florida. And even if you get one scoring chance out of that, that is better than being on defense the entire time. Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing about that too is if you keep playing your top guys and they are doing nothing offensively, try something else. Especially when, like, listen, of all people, like it's funny that I'm the one to say this, but give Barclay Goodrow more minutes. Like at that point, because he's on this massive heater where everything he's shooting at the net is going in, and everything that Zibanejad is doing isn't working. You know, Chytil is still trying his best out there. I'm not throwing much of any, like, he's excused. For all intents and purposes, Filipino was excused. He is back from a massive concussion after missing 72 games. This is his third or fourth game tonight. He's excused. I'm not talking about Filipino at all. When your top guys have nothing offensively and your number one priority is still to double shift them and to try to get something out of them when the rest of the lineup has been relatively effective at controlling the puck in the offensive zone, I'm not a fan of that. I understand the thought process of trying to force your top guys to be top guys. I get that. But if they aren't stepping up to the plate, eventually you have to get a different batter up to the pitch. Like you have to change it up.
I mean, I don't want to do like the anecdotal evidence only thing, because the only example in my head I can think of the Rangers going 11-7 in an elimination game was 2015. And that was because McDonough had a broken foot and was trying to play with a broken foot, and it didn't go well in either capacity, where he only played like 4 or 5 minutes in game 7. And then the 7th D, I forget who it was. I want to say maybe.
Was it Diaz?
No, Diaz was 2014. I don't remember who it was in 2015, but they need the kitchen sink tonight. This is, anything is on the table. Whatever you got to do. If that means doubling Lafreniere, if it means doubling Panarin, if it means breaking up Kreider and Zibanejad, whatever it takes tonight. It's that straightforward. You got to find ways to manufacture offense. You got to find ways to get some offensive zone time and take pressure off your defense, because your defense is why you're losing this series. Your forwards haven't given you a lot, but your defense has been killed in its own end. I understand your best defenseman is hurt and he's not himself. I wholly understand. If Fox is healthy, this is a different series, but he's not. These are the circumstances you have in front of you. You have one functioning defensive pair in Miller and Schneider. Do not break that up under any circumstances. I would be open to tinkering. I'd be fine if you wanted to try Fox and Gustafson, or Fox and Jones, if you wanted to do Trouba and Lindgren. Anything and everything needs to be on the table in this type of game, because all you got to do is find a way. You worry about Monday if you earn the right to get there. Until then, It's only about tonight. Whatever that looks like, whatever combinations, whatever changes, whatever scheme things you can cook up. If you think you can get the cycle going, that's the key, man. You watch the way some of these teams have responded, the way Edmonton has responded in their series to real adversity where shit hit the fan and they were able to bounce back. I understand the Rangers don't have a Draisaitl or a McDavid or a Bouchard, hell, even a Zach Hyman, but the Rangers are not this bad. The Rangers are not as bad as they've played in the last 2 games, and I'm very confident that they will not embarrass themselves tonight. I'm not going to say they're going to win definitively, but I think they will have probably their best effort of the series. Or otherwise, then, real conversations are going to be had. But that's, that you cross the bridge and you get to it. Got to play the game.
I think if they win tonight, they're winning the series. Like that's my hunch about it. And, you know, like that, because of the way the series has been played, because of the back and forth, because of how, we talked about it earlier, how they haven't looked all that good, and yet they've been right there in terms of the score for the vast majority of these games. Win this one, figure out what works, because whatever you have been doing the last couple of games has not been working. You tinker, fix it for game 6. If you win game 6, I'm pretty confident they win game 7. But if they don't win today, it's gonna be a long episode on Monday.
Yeah. I'm very nervous. I'm gonna go watch Champions League. I'm gonna go to sushi. I'm gonna come home.
Sushi.
Yeah, a little midday sushi.
All right.
Go to watch Champions League with my friends. Go to sushi. Come home. Watch the game by myself. Hopefully not jump off a bridge